What about laughing? Well, hold on to your crumpets. It's season 2 of the ComX Friday Night Drink and Draw, with your hosts Sizzle and Spidey, and a call quick, plus Australia's most attractive artists and creators, many of whom have books for sale at comx.shop. Alright Dave, you can start drawing.
Yeah, if you can make sense of it, good luck. Welcome to ComX Friday Night Drink and Draw. Tonight, our theme is Spider-Man, as you can see there with Rob, with his little Spider-Man. And our special guest is Scott Wilson. Woo! Oh, Batman, nice Spider-Man, yeah. Oh, well done, Dave.
Off to a flying start.
Yeah. See, I'm prepared.
Nice reference, Dave. Now, where's my creaming soda, you ask? I know. So I went to the fridge. There wasn't one in there, so I picked one out from the pantry, put it in the fridge, and then looked in the fridge again and was like, oh, there it is, and I pulled it out. It was the one I just put it in. It was warm. So no creaming soda for me tonight. But I do have Sizzle with me over here. What's going on, buddy? Looking good in your glasses, mate. We look like
the glasses now, yes, I can see. It's I can see the buttons clearly now. It's all good.
Oh, you know what you can see? I can see Nick Queerly now. Yeah.
Gentlemen,
Hey, there we go.
ready for my big drawing night. Let's be kind to each other tonight. Let's be good.
Let's change it up. Let's actually be friendly with one another.
Nice. Yeah.
Because we don't want to embarrass ourselves in front of Claudia, whose first time on the show. Welcome, Claudia.
Thank you.
Good to have you. Whose first sequential comic book art appears in the upcoming Sizzle and Doug comic book, soon coming from ComX. More on that later. But in the meantime, hey, Guy, hello, sir.
G'day, mate. How are you going?
Good. Now, one thing, Dave, I didn't do my pre-show, put everyone in their usual spots.
Yeah.
Which means you're up in the Alex spot. So if you could say things that are questionable, drop a few like Shanghai references, that would be welcome.
All right. I'll see what I can manage.
And below him, of course, is Nick May. Hello, sir.
G'day, everyone. Great to be here.
G'day, mate.
Hello, Nicholas.
And the man who we're all wondering what he has had or is going to have for dinner is Chris Pitcan.
Hello.
Have you had dinner yet, Chris?
No, you'll just have to wait and see.
Yes,
it'll pop up later when I've got more time to breathe.
Awesome. I'm in my office tonight. My guitar is within reach. We can sing the theme song as we see what Chris has for dinner. And then it's Red Gum's dad, Torn's dad, Billabong's dad. It's Peter Lawson. Hello, sir.
Good day. How are you?
Hey.
How are you all today?
Good, thanks, mate.
Good, sir.
Deadly. Absolutely deadly.
And then the man who is in the midst of bringing to life the Indigiverse, which we will talk at length about later in the show. It is Scott Wilson. Hello.
Good day, everyone. Thank you so much. Yeah, I can't wait. To see what everyone's poison is tonight. I know that Sizzle was snapping back on a big V. So looking forward to tonight. So awesome.
Getting some sponsorship, hopefully.
Cheers, mate.
Now we are here to draw and talk about Spider-Man. Probably one of the characters that I find the most difficult to draw. I've been trying to draw Spider-Man since I was a kid, and it is the number one reason why I think I will never be able to work at Marvel, because I can't draw that web slinger to save myself. Now, what we like to do with this show is we go around the room and we kind of talk about the character a little bit. Some people know heaps, some people know nothing. That's kind of the fun thing. We like to start with this guy. Sis, tell me about Spider-Man. When do you recall first seeing him? Do you love him? Do you hate him? Give us something.
Love him. I remember seeing him probably in that really old cartoon, which there's that meme where there's a copy of him pointing at himself. That old one. I can't remember what year it was, but that's the cartoon I first saw him in. I knew of him before I even started reading comics. So I knew Spider-Man existed before I even, because my first comic was 2000 AD, believe it or not, but in a show bag.
I don't
But
believe it.
yeah, Spider-Man, I knew that he existed before I knew comics existed. So
was that Nicholas Hammond, or like when Nicholas Hammond played like that? What was Nicholas Hammond?
Later.
That's the
Nicholas Hammond was live action.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And the controversial thing I know about Spider-Man, I think I'm the only person on the planet who liked the organic web in the Toby movie. I think I'm like the only person who liked that. So that's the controversial little thing there.
The family show, Sizzle. Come on, man.
Family show.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a good idea too. Like when you've got an hour and a half movie, rather than try to explain, dude got some Spidey powers, then he ran over here and quickly invented some web shooters.
Yeah.
I'm like, for the sake of getting to the story, just like pew pew, they come out his wrist.
Yeah, and it had the whole like puberty vibe to go with it. It was really fun.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I'm just thrown by the word puberty. I don't know. I just like
Puberty.
too many jokes too quickly. I don't know which one to choose. Now, you're pretty impressive, Sis, that your first comic book was 2000 AD. Not as old and as rare as mine, 2000 BC, my first comic.
Oh, well, there you
go. Yeah. Found it in a cave. Definitely not a 9.8.
Yeah.
Most of it was in ancient Hebrew. The pictures were horrible artwork. You couldn't even tell which one was Spider-Man. But anyway, my earliest memories of Spidey. So I recall getting the Federal Comic reprint of Spidey versus the Hobgoblin. It was in black and white. It was the first appearance of the Hobgoblin, but obviously the black and white reprint. I've been on record on this show. I think the greatest ever run on Spider-Man is Superior Spider-Man. If you were to give it to someone who's never read Spider-Man, it probably wouldn't work, because the genius behind it is watching Dr. Octavius, who has the body and the mind and the powers of Peter Parker, trying to be Spider-Man, and it is absolutely fascinating. I love the first two movies, were absolutely awesome, the second one in particular. But what about you, Quick? Tell me something about Spider-Man.
I've been thinking about Spider-Man all week, and I'm thinking about comics and Spider-Man, and I think it's interesting, all the characters wear spandex and stuff, and we all argue that doesn't work or shouldn't work in real life. Yeah. But somehow, like Spider-Man's, no one mentions Spider-Man when they're ragging on spandex, and when Tom Holland's flipping around in his acrobatic gear, everyone's like, "Yeah, I want to see that hard ass. That's how it should be." And then, like, I overthink everything. I think comic book drawing, like in its core, a lot of the time is just, it's just drawing figures. It's like drawing naked people, and that's why we love spandex. We love Spider-Man, because he is comics. He is spandex to a T. So those are my thoughts.
Yeah, don't you think it would be easier to draw if he was like wearing baggy pants? And all that
right.
Stuff, so you didn't have to like worry about musculature and whatever.
Exactly.
So that's what makes it easier to draw superheroes, mate, is you haven't got the folds, you haven't got that. All you got to do is draw a basic mannequin, or like I'm doing here, a basic, and there's no clothes or wrinkles, and then you just put a line for a cuff or an emblem on them, and it's simple, really.
Yeah.
But, I think that's why superheroes wear that tight fit and stuff. Makes it easy for the artists.
You say an artist,
makes it easy to see them. Like as a viewer or reader, you can see them clearer.
See them, and the muscles are always good to look at, and so are the curves. Yeah.
I guess swinging through the city in baggy pants would be weird.
Yeah, not aerodynamic,
When I was at I have this thing called pre-dreaming, which I like when I go to bed. often to try and de-stress and stop thinking about nonsense, real world problems, I come up with fantastical stories in my head that involve me doing some thrilling heroics. Now, I've done this for so long that I then, in my real dreams, I will often... So I always have the powers of Spider-Man plus the powers of a Jedi. And so then in my real dreams, I'll be having a dream, everything's going wrong, I'm getting scared, and then I'm like, wait, it's a dream. I've got webs. I can stick to walls. I'm like a spider Jedi. Yeah, I'm a big fan. If I could have any powers in the world, give me Spider-Man's powers, because swinging just seems like, well, I can't do a monkey bar to save myself, but yeah, swinging seems like a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Claudia, what do you think? You're donning some somewhat spandex yourself. What's your Spider-Man?
I'm not gonna lie. And I had two options. I had the short sleeve and the long sleeve, and I think the long sleeve wasn't a good idea. I'm feeling a bit hot. Yeah, it's Spider-Man. I was these last few days thinking. I go, when the hell was the first time I saw Spider-Man? I'm 26, and I just couldn't stop thinking. I'm like, the 90s animation. My partner and I have gone back to it as well, and I'm like, how am I still enjoying this? Like, it's just so good. And then the two Maguire movies in 2002 and all that. But in the last 2 years or so, I've started to like him even more because of my partner. Spider-Man 2099 and the Clone Saga with Ben Reilly. Certain storylines that I wasn't aware of, and I've just gotten to love him even more. Even if I do it.
Claudia, is your partner got a first name Peter? It's not Peter Parker, is it?
I mean, more and more.
Sorry. Are we allowed to mention, Claudia, who your partner is?
Yeah.
Or
so
it's obviously Bo from Omnibo from Aussieverse, a show on this very channel, which is on throughout the week. Now, did you introduce Bo to ComX, or did he introduce you, or were you both separately into it? How did that work?
He definitely introduced me, but I like to say that we're nerdy in different ways.
Right.
He'll have his comic room, but I was more into like gaming and anime and that. Like, I'll still it, but in different paths. It's been pretty interesting.
Yeah. It's nice when two nerds find each other. Speaking of nerds, Dave, one of my favorite parts of the show is finding out what you know or don't know or think of or whatever. Give it to us, Spider-Man.
I've read it. Look, I've read it.
Look at that.
Oh, nice.
I've read Spider-Man, mate.
You've read Spider-Man.
I actually
You've read all of Spider-Man.
Yeah. All this book. I know there's
1 through to 800 or whatever plus.
But this fella, he's up against the Kingpin in this, and I reckon that's pretty good. I enjoyed this story. There's about 5 comics in there, and that was very good. The Kingpin is his nemesis, and but I've got a question. How old is he? Is he grown up yet, or is he still going to school?
Yeah, he's a grown man now.
Okay. So he can.
He just recently had he was a billionaire almost. He had a big, huge Parker Industries, was it?
Really? Yeah, something like that. I vaguely remember that.
Where he was building spider cars and all this sort of stuff, and he made these special phones, and I can't remember. But
he can legitimately call himself Spider-Man now, not Spider-Boy.
Yeah,
Spider-Kid.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right.
Dave, did you pick up that artist edition because you wanted to sort of see?
Nice.
It's so good.
That's awesome.
Fun fact, I actually call him Spidey.
Oh, do you?
I just got that out in the public. I just realized.
Awesome. We all love you both.
I think it's cute.
Yeah, Dave, how is the artist edition? Do you have any other artist editions that you like? You like seeing how they put the books together and stuff?
Yeah, I got that because I want to see they're raw pages. You know, still got the blue line on them and all that sort of stuff. The whiteouts in there. People, you're not aware of these sort of books, aren't you? All these artists.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
So I reckon they're great. And I didn't have any John Romita art, so I thought it was an opportunity when I saw that come up, and I grabbed it.
Yeah, awesome.
So I recommend those things.
Well, yeah, I mean, for someone who's read every issue of Spider-Man, all 800 amazings, what is there, a couple of hundred spectaculars, web of, the astonishing Spider-Man.
I read them all within a week. Not bad.
Wow.
Champion effort there.
That's extraordinary. Yeah.
That's commitment. See, commitment. I want to see more commitment from the buddy ComX community.
I like it. Thanks, Lee.
Nick May. Let's go.
Never heard of Spider-Man. Never.
I thought he's got no idea.
Thought
So-
it would be one.
Same as others. So I guess I knew who Spider-Man was. I don't know when I first found out about Spider-Man, but the cartoon, the old 60s cartoon, was absolutely brilliant. The Nicholas Hammond live action show, when you look back at it now, people might cringe a little bit, but when that came on TV, it was like, no, that was must-see viewing. And I think probably in the late 70s, early 80s, they started reprinting Spider-Man comics. So I got a few reprints of the Steve Ditko ones, and I tried to draw Spider-Man. But as you'll probably find out when I finish this picture tonight, I can't draw those bloody webs on his head and all of that sort of stuff. So he's up Spider-Man. But so I've been collecting comics for a long time. Nick, you've spoiled my picture.
Put them on. Put on those gym boots.
Got him. Gotcha. So the only Spider-Man comics I've ever really collected were Spider-Man 2099 when that first came out, whenever that was, in the 90s, was it?
That was in 2099, yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, so it's still yet to come out, but I will collect that. And because I jumped on the bandwagon when Todd McFarlane got his own Spider-Man title, and I think I bought the first, 20 issues of that or something. But yeah, love him. Let's go.
Where does he rank in your, say, you're roughly in your top favorite comic book characters?
It's probably in the bottom infinity. No, he's not. He's not in my top 10, I wouldn't think, but then I couldn't tell you who is in my top 10. But I enjoy reading his adventures every now and again, but I don't think he's a character that I would read all the time.
Yeah. Only because now I'm desperate to know. I know you just said you don't know, but give us 3 who you know would be in your top 10.
Well, they would probably be associated with artists. So, like John Byrne drawing Cyclops, Dale Keown drawing the Hulk, and probably Mark Texiera drawing Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
Great answer. Sorry, Scott, you wanted to say something?
Oh, no, I was just about to alert to that in regards to how do you categorize what is in your top 10 and how you do that, and you just answered that. So I was like, is it storyline? Is it like illustrations? Is it, you know? And so, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that you would rank them by, I don't know. that's very interesting.
Yeah, that is. Before we go to Chris, we've got an audience member telling us about their first experience.
All right.
Interesting listening to everyone's first experience with Spider-Man. Mine was receiving a facsimile copy of his origin story, and it all came to life in the 70s.
Yeah.
Having somebody. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that. Who remembers the Doogie Howser Spider-Man cartoon? Because that was badass. Doogie Howser was the Neil Patrick Harris voiced Spider-Man.
Really?
Oh, I don't remember that.
It was like in the early 2000s, I think.
Check the guns.
Look at the grin on your face.
Mate, you're a unit. What are you talking about? Ripping out of that Blockbuster shirt.
Yeah, Blockbuster.
Oh, yeah.
That's your superhero name. That's your superhero name, Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Just busting up the block,
There's a message up there for Claudia. Did she see that?
Oh no.
There's
Oh,
for
this
you.
one?
Yeah.
Nice.
No pressure.
No pressure. No.
I can't draw bodies for the life of me.
3D MTV Spider-Man show.
I don't
Now I've got
remember
to
that.
think of my other favorite versions of the cartoons, because there was some wicked ones. Because we've got the Spidey Wikipedia man watching. We may as well pick his brain.
Yeah.
Mr. Pitcan. What's your Spider-Man story? What do you got?
Well, I mean, I never really read Spider-Man. I was more of an X-Men boy. But when I was about 11 or 12, the corner shop, I spotted a Spider-Man comic, and it had Marrow. It was an X-Men crossover with Marrow. And I thought, oh, X-Men in Spider-Man. I'll have that. And then the very next issue was an introduction to one of the Spider-Women villains.
Oh, okay.
I grabbed it out. Hang on, let me just minus my thing down so I can see what I'm doing. But I just saw that and I was like, she's a diva, absolute diva. Must have. Didn't care about Spider-Man. Just like, those heels.
Courageous.
This is when I was still telling myself I was straight.
Right.
But yeah, no, I literally collected the Spider-Man comics for the very short arc that she was in, and then stopped because I was like, well, the hills are gone. Not interested. Where's my queen?
That's so good.
But yeah, I mean, I've gotten more into it with the more recent films with Tom Holland in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Spider-Man's never really been a favorite.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably because he was more of a boys comic, like. But yeah, I was always more of an X-Men fan. But yeah.
Speaking of Marrow, was she the one that could shoot bone spikes out of herself?
Yeah.
Sort of.
There she is.
Yeah. Is that a Grant Morrison X-Men character? There's like a few that I get them all confused. Husk is another one I get confused. She can rip her skin off or something.
Yeah, she can rip her skin off to get different powers.
I never knew that. I just thought her power was just like, now I'm fresh and clean.
So it gives her different abilities.
Shedding skin.
I don't think I ever read anything with her in it, but from memory, it's like she rips her skin off, and each layer of skin has a different quality or texture that gives her she gets scaly skin or impervious metallic skin, or that kind of
Pretty
thing.
sticky.
Yeah, right.
We should do an X-Men show. Sorry.
Oh yeah, we should, shouldn't we? We've got another bow.
That's cool.
Nice.
Oh, sorry, I'm covering up the heels.
Yeah, don't cut up the
That's awesome.
Oh, what is this?
Sarah, what do we got? 60s Spider-Man cartoon, then Spider-Man and his amazing friends. Oh yeah, with Iceman and Firestar.
Yeah, I remember.
Then
Yeah.
Spider-Man
I think they
show
had a dog as well.
Limited.
We were talking about that.
Then Spectacular Spider-Man show, then Ultimate Spider-Man. I
There you
assume.
go.
Yeah, Firestar. She was created for the cartoon. Bo, is that right? Drop us a line in the comments. I think she was in comics first. I think she was for the show, and then they put her in the comics and made her a mutant. I think. Peter Lawson, tell us, what do you got? Spider-Man, love him, hate him.
Love him. It probably, with the exception of Batman through the Adam West TV shows, I think Spider-Man would be the first superhero I was ever exposed to. And that was through the comic back in the 60s, the cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
And which was required viewing on a Saturday morning for little 6-year-old me. And then a friend of mine had, and he was the only person I ever knew who had back then color Spider-Man comics.
Yeah.
Which was back then with the Ditko ones. And I actually have them now. So, which is very, very
Pinched them off
nice.
him.
Yeah, he gave me his collection. Just handed it over one day.
Yeah,
He
nice.
decided to stop, so he just gave them to me, so it doubled my comic collection, which was good. And that included 3 Ditko Spider-Mans. So I've got 3 of those in not very good condition, but they're there. And Ditko for me back then was the artist. Most people go on about Kirby, who is no undisputedly a legend, of course. But Ditko for me, with the way he could, especially with Spider-Man, with the way he would pose characters, it's just so dynamic and physically impossible. It just worked on a page. And nobody else, until McFarlane came along, nobody else could do that.
Yeah.
McFarlane certainly channeled a lot of that, but Ditko will always be the master of that sort of contortionist stuff.
Yeah.
And the same as you heard before, the Nicholas Hammond TV show, when that came out, it's rubbish, but man, it's fun rubbish. I can still watch it. It's just fun. It would have been nice if they could have injected a couple of supervillains into there somewhere, but never mind.
Did he do any swinging in that show?
Well,
Six-year-old Pete.
I love that he looks exactly the same, just his body smaller.
He's got a lollipop. Yeah, my lollipop. What are you talking about?
Is that a ComX hat as well? That he had. This is like me reading. This is like when Nick May collected comics that don't come out for like 50 years.
That's funny. There was some web slinging on the show, but it was very clearly a man suspended from a crane with.
And he used to do a lot of climbing like that.
Yeah, I remember that.
And if you looked at the wide shots, you could see the cable box up the building that's pulling him up, going up the wall. In fact, the pilot episode's probably got the best stuff they did in it, where he does a fight scene in a hallway and he's on the roof and he drops down and then jumps on the wall. But it looks really great when we first saw it. We're like, wow! You look at it now, it's like cables. Everywhere. So many of them, but you don't care. It's like when you watch like the old Wonder Woman one, for example, and you suddenly realise that all of a sudden Wonder Woman's got flat soles and there's a bra under her suit, which wasn't there 2 minutes ago. When the stunt girl comes in, it's just completely
That's gold.
You just don't care.
Yeah.
What about you, Scott? Have you got a bra under your suit? I mean, what do you think about Spider-Man?
Definitely.
Nice,
definitely. That's
good.
epic. Absolutely.
Zoom that up for a sec.
Wow.
Looking good, Pete.
That's
awesome. Mate. Jeez,
It was also the first superhero I ever drew, and that's been my go-to relaxation diffuser all my life. So,
wow, there you go. He's for me the most frustrating character to draw. I don't even know how you manage it.
You're complaining about the movie.
Scott, you picked Spider-Man for today, didn't you?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
I picked the most hardest one to draw. No.
Yeah.
So you can put the blame on me, everyone. But in regards, thank you so much. I think for me, absolutely, Spider-Man. I think I'm the same as Peter. It was the first superhero that I drew when I was younger. I feel like But as I said, I used to get like what do you call it? K-Zone magazines. Oh, I love that. Yeah, with the bra. That's it. But I used to patch up and get some K-Zone magazines at the post office and stuff like that, and they always used to have Spider-Man in it, and it really caught my eye. And I used to just go because I was bad at reading, like terrible reading. Like people say, "Oh, go read Harry Potter and all this stuff and all these things," and it just goes straight over my head. I'd have no idea what I'm reading. Take me a chapter, and I've already created something in our universe in my head. While I'm reading chapter 1 of Harry Potter, and so I've spent a lot of time like looking at books and illustrating and just drawing it and creating my own stories. And Spider-Man was at the beginning of all that. And but what I think what really kind of hit home with me for Spider-Man was more so it took a character of a young person who was going through, young people things that wasn't perfect, that had this responsibility that, unlike, a lot of the other kind of things, we had a different kind of age variation of different characters, but to have a young character, who was Spider-Man, but was secretly, a young person, having all this responsibility, and it just connected with me and the growing up where I had a lot of responsibility on my hands, and it was Spider-Man that really captivated me and just kind of empowered me through a lot of my drawing and those kind of things. And so I did, like, my first kind of memory of the books was Mysterio, which as a villain, which funny, I was like, oh, thank God, Amazing Spider-Man, they brought out Mysterio into that, and I was like, oh, this is crazy. But Spider-Man was the beginning for me, especially when it comes to comic creation and all these years. But I wanted to share something with you. I had I found an actual comic store when I was walking around Adelaide, and there was a collection called Nerds Paradise. I'm not sure if you guys know Sam Cripps from Nerds Paradise, and he had all these deadly Spider-Man comics, and I actually got all these a theme of collecting Spider-Man with introductions of villains and characters. So my kind of collecting was what the first introduction of characters, and I actually found the first introduction of Gwen Stacy.
Wow.
And Lee to actually sign. Yeah, and when you guys are going to hate me for this, but it was I got it graded, but I wanted Stan Lee to actually sign the paper, so I smashed that thing open, and I didn't care. And I got it. Stan Lee to sign it for me. Yeah,
that's awesome.
I was like, I don't care. I can get it graded again, but
good on you.
Yeah, so I smashed it open with Stan Lee, and
that's awesome.
Comics are for reading.
Yeah,
I hope you appreciated it.
I bet that's a better nick than my one.
Sorry.
Did you get Stan Lee to sign it then? He did he?
Yeah, he did. He did.
Wow.
Thankfully, and I got I made sure that Marvel authenticated it for me. I got this really fancy little authentication.
Wow. Cool.
Code with the stuff, but I have my little Marvel little box here.
Oh, hang on, I'll bring that up. You can show
it. That's like my little box with. And you were saying, I found this first edition of Spider-Man featuring team up with X-Men and stuff like that. So,
cool.
It was one of those things that I just started to do when I was younger, just collecting. And one day I'll spend a lot of time, maybe take more than a week to read them. Thanks, Dave. But,
Go on, mate. Go on.
I love that. I'm trying to take
it. You could have picked Mysterio. It would have been so much easier to draw. Just a circle for your head and you're halfway there.
Absolutely. That's wicked.
It's funny you should say the reading Harry Potter and it goes over your head, and then reading comics helped you. I think that goes for a lot of creative people struggling to maintain concentration because everything you read is often a writing prompt for your own story. So like so and so walks down there, and then suddenly you envision how you would do it and where you would take it, and before you know it, you've read 20 pages and haven't taken in a word of it. Whereas comics are kind of good to hold your attention a little bit because the art's freaking crazy.
100%.
Yeah,
funny enough. Sorry, we got that.
Peter.
That's awesome.
Yeah, right, mate.
Awesome. That is really good. I think I might have that one. Yeah.
Have you? Number 95.
Yeah, I'll have to go through. I'm pretty sure I've seen it. The cover, I remember. But yeah, awesome. With Harry Potter, like I remember the first kind of drawing of it where they're like, "Oh, draw what you've just read," or like because they used to read it to us. And when we like pick a spot in the room and we'll read it to you, and I actually thought Professor Snape was Professor Snake, and so I drew like professor, like as a snake professor, and it was
which is so much cooler.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's just throw out some names. Who will all vote? Who is the best Spider-Man villain? I think we've argued on the show before Batman's Rogue Gallery versus Spider-Man's. But who is the best Spider-Man villain?
Well, I like Kingpin. I thought he was pretty good.
Dave, is that because it's from one of the only Spider-Man books you've read?
Yeah, well, something like that, I guess.
It's funny, he appeared first in Spider-Man, right? But then basically became a Daredevil villain.
More Daredevil.
Yeah, well, that's right. I read Daredevil too, and he's in there. So no wonder he's my favourite. He's the only one I know in Marvel.
That's funny. Hobgoblin. What do you reckon, Claudia? What's your favorite X-Men villain?
In between a Hobgoblin, sorry.
Spider-Man.
I'm like, what?
What's that say?
You said X-Men.
Did
I?
Yeah, you said X-Men. Yeah.
Sorry, Spider-Man.
Yeah, in
Can you tell?
between Mysterio and Hobgoblin.
Mysterio and Hobgoblin. What do you like about Hobgoblin? Being that he's kind of like Green Goblin.
In all honesty, it's just what I remember as a child with Spider-Man.
Yeah. I mean, he has this badass costume.
Yeah.
I think I'm with Claudia there with Mysterio. But definitely, I guess the lure of Green Goblin is like, up there, for me. But I think Mysterio, I love the concept of, using your imagination against you, you're like, and that whole kind of way of defeating, a superhero, like using your deepest, darkest things against you. And you're actually your worst villain, actually, in the whole process of it. So it's like,
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
What about you, Sis?
Well, most of my exposure is the movies, so I'd have to say Doc Ock, just because I love that fight scenes with him, and I find his real name hilarious.
Yeah,
he didn't have a choice.
Yeah, that is crazy that when their name comes long before their power or whatever, and then what about you, Nick? You got a favorite Spidey villain?
Yeah, it's got to be Doc Ock, just based on movies. Yeah. And there's something cool about all those limbs against Spider-Man, and there's some sort of symmetry with an octopus and a spider. This is really fun. Yeah.
An octopus. I guess with the legs, because I was like, a spider and an octopus would never meet. One of them's gonna die if they meet the other one.
Yeah.
Exactly. The odds are great.
We need to make this battle happen. I feel like this is a battle that needs to happen.
Yeah, definitely.
You'd have to get like one of those massive. Well, what about a crab? A crab's like the spider of the sea.
Get out of here! Don't be silly.
You're right. Octopus versus spider. Yeah, that makes way more sense.
Yeah, definitely.
I know what my next quick is. You're in trouble, Rob.
Well, that's the genius behind Scott Snyder's Court of Owls with Batman, is that he literally went, well, what's the archenemy of a bat? Googled it, and it's an owl. And he was just like, holy shit, how has there not been a bunch of owls fighting Batman? And I feel like the archenemy of a spider would be a bird, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Crabman.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was trying to make a dad joke with like owls and go like, who thought of that? You know? It's like very terrible. Like, you know.
Well, you're a pooch, mate.
Yeah. I'm booted. Yeah.
What would be Crabman's, if Dr. Otto Octavius became Dr. Octopus, what would Crabman's...
Oh, what would his name be? Kramer.
Yeah.
Crabtavius.
Yeah. Snippy Crabula.
Yeah, something like, yeah.
Nicholas Mayfield, what are you favorite Spidey villain?
Dr. Octopus's hair in the comics. I think he was keeping the old cat alive for a long time. Other than him, let's go with the Rhino from that Spider-Man movie that was atrocious. Oh yeah, and he was the Rhino for like 8 seconds. Let's go with that one. That's my new favorite Spider villain.
I think that was a pretty good Rhino though, and the Spidey using the sewer lid to smack him.
That was
pretty
cool.
badass.
Yeah.
And as much as I didn't like those movies, particularly the crane scene was just ridiculous. But the web slinging, the POV web slinging, is some of the best. If you could put VR goggles on and just
how good,
yeah, it would be insane.
Pokemon. Yeah,
I think I was going to throw out a question. I know you're probably going to bring this up, Spedsy, is because when you look at it, it's like Tobey Maguire. You know, you got Andrew Garfield and Tom. Yeah, that question, Claudia, is like, who is your favorite? Like, you know, out of all that, because I know, you know, one of them versus Doc Ock and all those kind of things. So, yeah, do you guys have a favorite? Because I know I was really, when you rewatch the Tobey Maguire, I can't get past his voice.
Yeah,
you know. It just really like puts me off. It's like he does something cool and then he speaks, and I'm like, oh. It's like they just did all the dub. Like that's not even him in the suit. They just dubbed him. Like, you know, put the voice over.
Yeah, he never got the Spider-Man jazzing. You know, he couldn't riff like the other guys.
Yeah, and see, I think Andrew Garfield, he was bordering on being a douchebag. His Spider-Man,
yeah, he was.
His quipping was just like being, like he was quipping the audience as well, just being a jerk.
Yeah.
When I saw the first,
I have to say different to you there. I actually really like those movies.
Oh, they're great.
Oh yeah,
yeah, I love them.
I think they're all.
I much prefer them to the more recent ones. I think the more recent ones with Tom, what's his face? It's Junior Giant Man. Like, they haven't let Spider-Man stand on his own. It's just Tony Stark fanboy the whole way, and essentially, they haven't given the character any of its appeal beyond that he's still in high school.
Yeah.
Like a lack of character evolution, like with
completely. Yeah, it's all I'm worshipping at the feet of Tony Stark, and then it's I'm mourning him. I need to follow in his footsteps. It's like, really? That's just my opinion.
Yeah, Spedsy, I feel like you got opposing views there. I see you quiet. I was like, oh, something's happening.
No.
That's the beauty of so many interpretations of a character like that. Is we can all have different opinions, and you take what you want out of them. Same with the comics. When different writers tackle them and different artists tackle them, they bring in something new. And sometimes it'll hit you, and sometimes it won't.
Absolutely.
Well, you know what? It's getting towards that time. Being that we have a special guest here that I'm hanging to talk to, speaking of writers and whatnot, let's crank up the old spotlight. And
Now
have
it's
a
the
chat.
part of the show where we shine a big shiny spotlight on one of our creator friends. This week, we welcome
Name
and talk about their creative journey. Please, everybody, make some noise for
Name.
Yes, we welcome Scott Wilson to the show. Now, I'll be honest, you came onto my radar because friend of the show, Katie Hollywood, was talking about a new book she was putting out, Dark Heart #1. That would be the thing.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
I went looking, got to read up on your story. The Kickstarter is live now. You can. Do we have a link? Sis, is he on the?
Oh yeah,
Kickstarter
crap.
link
Yeah,
for you?
hang on. Keep talking.
Yeah.
I'll put it in there.
No, that's cool.
Awesome.
So, yeah, if you go to the link that Sizzle will put up in a little bit, upcoming Kickstarters, you'll be able to click through to check out the Indigiverse. It all starts with Dark Heart #1, and here is the man who created and put the thing together. So, Scott, take us back. Tell us about. We've gotten a little taste of your love of comics, but talk about your love of creating and writing and where all that started.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it started back when I just hit puberty.
Second
And I
mention of
was in a
puberty this
dark
week.
room.
Just like Spider-Man.
Yeah, just like Spider-Man. Yeah, now I was in a dark room with scented candles, and yeah. Now it was. It actually did start back at. So I went to Hale School to represent. I'm not sure if anyone knows boarding schools in Perth, but yeah, in the dorm rooms I used to just draw, write, and we had an AIT class, Applied Information Technology, and actually started to do it on like a little animation, like trying to rig a character, and the character I rigged was actually the character that's now in in the Indigiverse of Dark Heart. And so that was back in 2010. And so I started to just develop the story there over the time, back and forth, and just a lot of drawing, a lot of illustrations. And I kind of was writing this whole, Indigiverse while just going through university. Then I actually did a stint on the mines, and while I was did a 12-hour shift. I'd be in my thing, writing and trying to figure out how to bring this to life. While I was doing that, I was also writing an animation series that was about mining life as well. And so I had both in conjunction with each other, and then I had I got this opportunity to actually travel to Canberra, and I was playing. I emailed the Brumbies. I'm not sure if you guys know who the Brumbies are.
Hey, Kraken Bakery.
Yeah, Kraken. Yeah. I worked at Brumbies now. I played for Feeder Club in the Brumbies and in Canberra, and I won an award. And that in the crowd was a lady that would then set course this whole journey for me. And so she's like saw a speech that I did, and she went and told her managing director at the time, saying, "Oh, you got to meet this fella." And then bang, he said, "Let's meet." And we had a coffee, and he was hiring me for a job. And I said, "Hey, I'm writing this Indigiverse, this whole superhero universe. What are you doing?" And he shared his creativity with me. And then we started to like just bounce off each other and just be like, okay, let's create our own company, and instead of going at it, and you guys all probably know the Australian standard when it comes to publishing, especially for writers and illustrators, the percentage should be like 60% and more that goes to the writer and illustrator, which isn't the case. And so we tackled it at this way of making sure we had ownership and control over the content. And so, Benny Egmalies, who's the executive producer now for the Indigiverse, he took it to the next level with me. But before that, I used all the money. I was on the mines, and I had a lot of money. And I actually used that money on my week off to go and travel to Comic Cons across Australia. And I made sure that I booked the VIP tickets, the superstar guest tickets. And that's where I got to meet Stan Lee. And then also I got to have a few beers with Tom Taylor, as you guys all probably know Taylor. Yeah. Me and Tom Taylor was at a VIP room in Brisbane, Cloudlands, having a beer, throwing it back, and we got talking about this Aboriginal superhero universe. And that's where he said, you know what, I got a mate that's absolutely extraordinary, and that was Wolfgang Bilsma, the founder of ComX. And he's like, you two need to get together. And so one thing led to the other, and then me and Wolfgang got together, and then we just started vibing, and this whole world started to evolve, and we started writing this, and bringing it together. And it was just like, it was meant to be. Like the universe, I always thought of it like, and you guys probably have the same feeling, is that the story isn't mine. It was like given to me by the universe to bring to life. It was that vibe. Whereas like, okay, in the cosmos and this time in our history, especially for Australia, I think it's time for these stories to come through and be shared and celebrated across, the globe. And so I think it was perfect timing. I waited 10 years, but I think it was that wait to get the team, to assemble the right team, like Katie Hollywood, who's absolutely magnificent, which I met 3 years ago. And I put it on her radar. I said, hey, let's get together and team assemble, basically. But it wasn't the right timing. And then Justin Randall as well, who, if you look at the coloring, is just absolutely magnificent, like in terms of the colors that he brought to life with the book. And it just all came together. Everyone was just this piece to the puzzle that I've been just so blessed to be, another piece to it. And we all came together and just got the creative juices flowing. And now we have issue 2 coming out next month. Katie's onto it with issue 2 coming out. We also have a second superhero, which is female superhero, coming out in production at the moment. And so, over the course of next year and more, there's going to be up to 5 superheroes that we'll be sharing with the world with their own journeys and, character evolution. But as Dark Art is the spine of the story. It's one that, but it's very exciting. And I hope you all get a chance to have a read. And I'd love to hear your thoughts as well about the storyline. If you want to be in the story too. I know Nick, like, I'd love to put you in the story,
absolutely. Amazing story. I have a few things I want to tag onto. Firstly, Sis, just chuck the link up one more time if you don't mind.
Yeah, it's a short link I made just special for this.
Only because, we talk, people come on this show and they talk often about Kickstarter fatigue and whatever. You need to check out this Kickstarter because not only is it very straightforward, the video at the start tells you everything you need to do, everything you want to know. But the best part about it, the book is only like $8 or $9, and the postage is like 5, 6, 7. I can't remember, but my point is, what you're getting, it's awesome and it's cheap, and it's none of this like pay $50 now and you might get a book in 8 months. It's cheap. The book's done. It looks gorgeous. Like, get on the ground floor and bring this thing to fruition, to life. But you said, I liked in your story about all the different people you were vibing with. Yes, you having just known you for 53 minutes and 50 seconds, I feel like you can vibe with a potato. You're so charismatic and cruisy. So tell us about the Indigiverse itself. Like, take us in to give us a little bit of a tease of where Dark Heart starts us off and what we can expect and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So without giving too much away, spoiler alert, everyone. So basically, with Dark Heart, it was a story, as I shared with the Kickstarter, about much like inspired by the kind of cliche around, a young person struggling with that responsibility of having powers. But this one, it really brought on a lot of my lived experience into that and being displaced and, moving away and going to boarding school. But understanding that that's, we have to go through that in regards to the responsibility and obligation to the representation for our people as Aboriginal people. And so a lot of the stories within it are actually inspired by a lot of stories I grew up with my elders sharing with me about Mamu. So Mamu, I know it's funny because when I listen to like Doctor Strange and it's like Dormammu, you know,
Yeah.
I was like, did they steal it from us? No, Mamu. So Mamu was in my language, the Gurniandi language, you know, talking about the evil spirits. And when I share this, it's not like Greek mythology when you say it existed like long ago. These are stories about things that go bump in the night that still exists in community and out in the bush today. And so we still have stories, and I've experienced firsthand the things that go bump in the night when I've been. So I just returned from being on country last week. And you know, and there's still stories of seeing things out there in the bush, and the stories that was told so many years ago that's still being shared today. And so within the dark art, you'll see a glimpse of a lot of the stories that hasn't been shared in this kind of platform or comic form or even creative form before. And so the Indigiverse takes us on that journey of, really sharing those stories. And there's some really scary stories that I've had to dull down, but I want to go into that, that sphere of telling those stories to its true authenticity. But then inspiring it to be fictional so I can take it anywhere and grow it as we go. But in regards to this, I'll tell you a little thing about this is that dark art, actually, if you look in this first book, there's a Gungra Jiwi. So the Gungra was actually fire that we use today to actually smoke. Like, you know how people do sage and they smoke out evil spirits and like vibes and energy? Well, we smoke Gungra and other types of wood. And that can actually, I love that. That is so good. That's so good, Mr. Potato. And so, we have a lot of those wood that we burn. And so I brought it into this where at the beginning of time, primordial Australia prior to colonization, Mamus and these evil ancestral beings were reaping havoc on our planet, basically. And one of my great-great-grandmothers is named Mungala, and she's actually gets taken back in the day. And a lightning strikes a bush, and they don't realize that that bush is the Gungra that gave off this scent that repelled the Mamus. And so what they did back then was actually gather these pieces of wood, and we call this thing called Mabarn or magic. So we can sing with magical powers the longevity of these pieces of wood. And so we have the elder protectors that have lit this fire across Australia that now holds the law. So no ancestral being or Mamu can spill blood on Australian soil, basically. But if the fires are died out, there's a whole consequence to that. And so our antagonist is actually set to die out all the fires, which will then provide this other thing to happen. So there's a large planet-destroying consequence.
Mm.
Oh, wow.
Holy moly.
Yeah. In a nutshell. So.
Yeah, sounds awesome.
Do you still draw? About that, sorry, mate. I was
mate.
just going to say, I think the great thing about that is you can tell, like, you've got the knowledge, and it's your heritage, and that's going to come through and going to make it a really good story because it's going to have that authenticity about it.
Sounds fascinating.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sounds great.
Yeah. Well, that's what because at the beginning I got pressure from a lot of people, just general public, asking me to go down the line of working with Marvel and doing it with Marvel, and and that's where when I yarned with Tom Taylor and a few others, the Indigiverse came about with this way of giving back the IP and protecting the IP and the control of that for the people. So instead of us owning a large percentage of this, if anyone comes on to create a story that comes part of the Indigiverse, we would work to actually make sure that the percentage, is fair, it's equal, it's it's at a standard that hasn't been seen before, because we want to create a new standard. We want to create a revolution. That's yeah.
Yeah, so do yourself a favor and check out the Kickstarter because I feel like you'd be getting in on the ground floor on something that could be huge. Yeah, Scott, do you still draw? You talked about drawing as a kid. Do you like to still dabble?
Yeah, I still draw. So funny. So I drew the first issue of the comic before I wrote it.
Right.
Yeah, so that's I don't really tell much people. So Katie and Justin, I had given them the kind of drawings of the first issue that I've drawn myself, and just to help them in bringing this to life. And so I did the old school thing of putting these A4 pieces of paper onto PowerPoint and just writing, this is what happens in it, this is the thing. And so I drew that myself, and just also the coloring had to get right in terms of this color scheme. And obviously you guys know the difference between Marvel and DC when it comes to the colors that are conveyed. And so I wanted to try and to make sure we got that right as well, in terms of the vibrancy and the nature of it. We didn't want it. We are telling at times a dark kind of story, but we want still color. And I told Justin that I wanted a glow. Can you give me a glow? And he hit the nail on the head. And so when I saw the colors, I was like, and you go through the book, I hope that people see like this glow. And I just wanted to have this glow. And so he came, and I was like, this is all meant to be. It's like I'm walking in the footsteps of my future self, basically.
All right, great.
So it's like, yeah.
Wow. Just like
But
Nick
I
May
do
those issues.
Fun?
Just like Nick May walked into future self and picked up the horrible copy. You'll get used to this is what the show becomes as it gets later. My jokes get worse and worse. Well, that's freaking awesome, Scott. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Please come back on the show anytime. Join us as an artist would be awesome.
Yeah, hell yeah.
But yeah, when issue 2 comes out and whatever, let's get together and talk again. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. And it's so good to, be a part of such deadly, same-minded people, really.
Yeah.
It's been a long time and a kind of lonely journey, really, of, often being in a room by yourself, creating all these things, and then going out there. But now, since going to Comic-Con and now Supernova, we're heading to Canberra Comic-Con this weekend, next weekend in Canberra. So if you guys are anywhere near there, please duck your head in. We will be going to Sydney as well, and Brisbane Comic-Con, Oz Comic-Con. And so, please, let me know. Or I'd love to get all your details, or even follow each other on Instagram. And we just keep this network, keep this family growing.
Yeah, man.
Good on you, mate. That's the attitude we want.
That sounds awesome.
Too deadly.
Speaking of community, let's have a look, Sis, at some of the artwork that has come in from people out and about.
We've had a bit come in today.
Actually, before you start on
David Williams. Oh, sorry.
Maybe before you start on the Spider-Man, maybe we had some a ghostwriter to catch up on. From
God, yeah. Sorry, I was meant to bring that up at the beginning.
No, that's all right.
So we have a ghostwriter from Sean Craig. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. There it is in full. Very nice. Can everyone see that?
No. Yeah. Oh, yeah, there it is. Nice.
Awesome.
Nice work, Sean.
Shading in that
of it.
Wow.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so everybody at home, you don't feel pressured to have to get something drawn in the hour of the show. You can always send it to us through the week and we'll show it the next week or whatever. So if you want to do a Spider-Man throughout the week, we'll show it next week. Meanwhile, I believe we have some Spider-Mans.
Nice. I love that.
Look at that. I got it right. Thanks, Chris.
That's so
Sean,
good.
sorry. Oh, I stuffed it up. Totally.
Thanks, Sean. Right. Thanks, Chris. What?
Thanks, Chris. I don't know what that was. Thanks, Sean. Sorry.
Oh, it's amazing.
I don't know how I did that.
If we wrote that into a script,
agreed, Peter. Let's change the subject. Sorry. Let's go look at the art, shall we? So we got David Williams. Send his in first.
Wow.
Ooh.
Oh.
That's really
David Williams. Holy moly.
movement.
I hate you. That's brilliant.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Then we've got a special one from Bryony May.
What?
Yeah, well done, Brian.
That's cool.
That is
She's
sick.
a chip off
That
the
is
old
sick.
block.
Yes.
That's
Chip
epic.
off the old block, I reckon.
Is that the first time we've had Briny Art on the show?
Second, I
That's the
think.
second time, I think, isn't it? Yeah. Then
tell me.
we've got an interesting one. This is the first time Danny Nolan has sent something in.
Ooh.
All right.
Oh,
Yeah. Yep, I'd say that's Danny's.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
He also sent in his arch nemesis.
All right.
That
Right. Well, you put a lot of effort into all that.
is good.
So
That's so
sad.
good.
What's
Yeah.
going on in his body? Are those like warts?
Yeah.
I'm like kind of grossed out. That's awesome, Danny. Thanks.
Yeah.
Kind of grossed out.
And then we got Dan May. He's gone the
Oh,
whole
Dano.
He's going off here.
Oh,
Oh.
holy moly.
Right, look at that.
Wow.
All right.
That's the Spider-Verse.
Walker-wee. That's Walker
Well
Wee.
done, Dan.
Yeah.
Couldn't decide which one, so just drew them all. Nice.
Do 'em all.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Bloody hell, that is.
Great work, Dan. Holy moly.
Yeah. And then Michelle's
Holy
killing
moly,
it again
right.
on posters.
Oh,
All right.
Oh, yes.
Cool.
that is good. Bloody hell.
Wow, look at the
Venom,
venom.
is it?
Yeah, Venom
Yeah, all
is
the
epic.
Venom.
Is he
saliva
a
flying
villain?
around.
He's a villain, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'd take a look at him, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Here I come to save the
Is he
day.
anti-hero? Would you say anti-hero? Like,
Yeah, he is
Yeah.
now, surely.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah, he is
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got
We
it.
got Ryan Villa sent one in as well.
Oh,
Oh, good on you, Ryan.
He drew it at work today.
Good one, Ryan.
yeah,
Oh,
Awesome.
Where do you work, Ryan? The awesome factory.
yeah. That is, yeah, that looks like when Spider-Man was just hitting puberty. That's the thing.
Third puberty reference this episode, everybody. If you take a shot.
And then we've got Tony Menzie.
Holy, we got
Oh, Ripper Tony.
yes.
Wow.
These people.
Tony.
This is epic.
Go, good
Yeah,
work,
that is
Tony.
great.
Big Spider-Man brought out the people, the artists tonight. Holy,
Yeah.
It did, didn't it?
Yeah. Feeling the
Thank
love.
you.
Man.
Nice
Spidey love. We're gonna
Good
get a shirt.
choice.
Spidey love.
Yeah,
That's it.
We're finally Nick Mays.
hey, nice.
Wow,
Oh,
nice.
besides his own
Love him.
picture.
Nicely
Excellent.
done.
That is so good.
That is
Very good,
awesome.
Nick.
Look at his butt.
All right, like, yeah,
Spider-Man.
that is.
That's Warrenwood's butt right there.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, it just always baffled me. Like Spidey, without any warm up, can like just go out there and
Yeah.
it's like
He's
that.
flexible.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, this is from reference. Nick took a reference photo, got his wife to take a photo of him, just so he could get
I
that
did
photo.
have to take off both legs. That's true. But yeah.
I recognise that butt anywhere.
Then we got Davo77.
Ooh,
Oh, yeah. Good one, Davo.
Ah,
Awesome,
Davo,
Awesome, Tony. Yeah.
that's epic.
great work.
Loving the style change up.
Yeah,
Like what I've seen with Ghost Rider and on your Instagram and all the styles just like change up. It was epic, you know?
It was awesome.
oh, I can see the thumbnail for this next one. Good
Yeah.
God,
Brace yourselves.
God.
Brace yourself for Chris.
That's good.
Chris again, nice one. I was
You
wondering
got
how
enough
to
of
do
this?
this.
I did cheat a bit. I didn't actually do the background.
That's
I'll
bad.
forgive
Sorry,
you.
I'd
mate.
like
What
to
do
see
you
it.
mean?
Oh,
It's very
Yeah.
fun.
awesome.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
so good.
great.
That is
I love the
awesome.
socks.
Yeah.
I love the socks.
Yeah,
Yeah. I love that he's slightly sunburnt too. Like, there's-
yeah.
like he's been in the sun, you know? That's
That's
Holy
awesome.
crap. Wow, Chris, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Do mine next. What?
Yours next. That's it.
That's the next one in the list.
Nice.
Yeah,
Straight
baby.
up,
so
Chris.
good.
Nice one.
I like it.
Funnily enough, I can't see it. That's probably a good thing.
Oh, okay, here you go.
Oh,
Ah, there it is.
That's so epic.
Ah, Ripper, mate.
Great.
Well
Rob.
done.
And I okay, there's another one, but I don't know.
I
what it is.
uploaded that. This is what
Oh,
I
you
did for
uploaded that. Okay,
an old
cool.
comics challenge years ago. I thought, oh, let's chuck it in.
Oh, nice. Spider-Man.
I'm digging that.
Hey. Why is he green?
Oh, that was in the weekly drawing thing that.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I wanted to make my own Black Spider-Man, so he's a Jamaican Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Yeah, I love that. I love that. I'm Spider-Man. No, man. Yeah. That's so good.
So, this is where I get to pick on people. Claudia, did you do traditional or digital?
Traditional. I have moved and I can't find nothing. So I don't know what I put. Is mine.
Whoa,
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
cool.
Wow.
Yes.
That is epic. That's mean.
Wow.
That's like,
Yeah, he is the determined Spidey. That one.
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, that's Spider-Man thing too.
Spider. Wanted to show something else. I did a present for Omnipro not long ago of Venom.
Yep.
I actually prefer drawing Venom more than Spidey.
Yep.
I didn't know I could paint. I'm just,
And
I love
that.
this. For,
Oh, hang on, let me bring that up.
I
Oh,
didn't know I could paint
Wow.
before doing a masterpiece. Wow.
Yeah, wow.
That is crazy.
wow, that's fantastic.
That's,
Yeah.
I'm doing, I'm going to do Carnage next.
yeah.
Oh, nice.
Hell yeah.
That'd be cool.
what-
Like facing each other.
Should we check in quickly with Mr. Dave Dye? Have a bit of a chill out session.
Yeah, sure.
All right, just
On the color as well. Fancy.
Oh, it's got the watercolor.
yeah, got the watercolor pencils down and just putting the water on there.
That's really cool, Dave.
That is so good.
I kind of want to buy the Ghost Rider you did last week.
Yeah, that one really spoke to me too. I like that one.
We should auction it.
Yeah, sure. Bring more.
Yeah, that would be so good.
I think we've talked about it before, Dave, but I think if viewers wanted to buy these, you should
Just reach out.
I started an auction earlier. I didn't bring it up because we're having a good conversation about Indigiverse. See if I can find it.
Yeah, you can find Dave. Well, probably maybe an easy way to do it is just message Shane, Shane at comx.net.au, and Shane can talk to Dave and see
Yeah.
about that. Otherwise,
Do it that way.
yeah,
We got a fan.
They're not going to be too expensive. Righto, Peter Parker. Oh man!
oh, there you go, Dave. We're at 20. We're doing an auction.
$20.
Oh, you found it. I couldn't find it.
Do I hear 30? Do I hear 30?
I'd definitely throw in 30 for that. Look at that.
Current bid is 30, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
You
apparently-
see, I was Comic Con there, Dave.
If you download the show, you can have a record of how it was created too.
Yeah.
That's true. History. That's what it is.
yeah, you can also go back through the catalogue of shows and find Dave's previous work and
Yeah.
see if some of those are still available.
Yeah.
Look at
But-
that.
Oh, I just got another one.
Me and Quick have got our eyes on the Ghost Rider.
Yeah, we'll sort that one off there.
Yeah.
Wow, this is.
Awesome.
So beautiful watercolor.
I know, right?
All righty. Well, have we seen? No, Peter Lawson. We've not
Peter Lawson still.
checked in with you, sir.
Jeez.
All right. I will pop it up. Just a sec. So, and it's gone. Yep. There you go.
Hey,
Oh, awesome.
Yes.
That's cool.
That is.
Yes.
No,
That's
that's
awesome,
ripping,
man.
mate.
it's really like familiar.
Wow.
Good work.
Like Joe Madura,
Just
Maduera.
take the
Sorry.
background out of it. So you can,
Oh, yeah, nice.
Yeah.
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 Fantastic foreshortening in that one.
Ow. My hand's cramped.
It's so good, Dave. It's almost 5 shortening. I believe
We
got
just got
one-
another piece of art in.
one through on the buzzer from
One
my
through on the
boy.
buzzer. We've got Ben
boy.
Sullivan.
Ben
Oh,
Sullivan.
oh, what
Oh,
Ben-
Ben.
Nice.
that is
Oh,
fantastic.
Nice one, Ben.
That's
wicked.
lovely.
Great work, Ben. Come back on the show. You're hard to get a hold of, my friend.
Oh, yes, he is.
We want you back on the show. We miss you.
Yeah, that was epic.
Yeah.
Crabman.
Hey, Crabman.
Crabman.
Crabman appears.
Hey
Hey,
there,
Eat short.
Hey,
hey,
short Nick.
Benji, while we're still running, should we get a plug in for homegrown
Nah.
comic? Nah, leave it to next week.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
August 28th is Home Cooked, a
That's
comic and zine festival in Northcote here in Melbourne. I will be there. Darren Close will be there. Angie Spice, friend of the show, will be there. I believe this guy, Quick Nick, will be there all the way from Adelaide. So if you already
I'm
own
going.
Detective... Yeah, I was getting around the room, Dave.
Oh.
Dave's going.
Giving Quicky's little moment in the sun.
Sorry.
He
But-
needs a dinging. That's
Yeah, it's a special, like for Melbourneites, this is the first opportunity to get some budgies, first person in your hand budgies. If you've already owned a budgie, come bring it along and get it signed. He will also sign real budgies. But yeah, me and Nick May get to meet Quick in real life, and he gets to check out what we look like from here down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait. That's 8 legs. And I can't wait to see Nick May's muscles. It's all
My eyes are up here. Thanks, Nick.
Yeah.
Gary Della will be there, and with him will be Peter Lawson, of course. I believe that's right. So you can come along and grab some tawns and get them signed by the man. Dave Dye will be there, slinging some amazing tales and some cut down. Oh, actually, and Roger Stetson will be there. So you can get cut down and help me out quick. What's the newest one called?
Timefall.
You can get it signed by both Dave and Roger Stetson, both in the same place at once.
Look at that.
Hayden
ready,
Spurrell will be there sitting with me. I'm going to try and get Nick May to pop down for a little bit so you can get your Vamooses signed by a bunch of us. Hey, you can get Vamoose signed by Dave Dye, me, Nick, Ben might come, Hayden. Holy moly.
Wow.
What's happening, folks?
Peter Lane will be there.
Comics.
Sky's
Holy
Cabin
moly.
Library. There's a huge list, and I'm probably forgetting someone who's watching. Just going, say my name, say my name.
Will Katie be there? Will Katie?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think
Josh
she's- I think she's-
Chodzizna will be there, friend of the show. He of heaps.
Gary?
Yeah, Gary Della said Gary.
Question for Claudia.
Who else we got?
Claudia.
There's a long list. Check it out. Home cooked next weekend. Come on down, buy some comics. Speaking of plugs, what do you think, Sis?
Yeah,
Should we-
hang on, I'm not
should
on
we
the
plug
right
each
screen.
other?
You there?
Are you all right? I'll go. Me go?
Yeah, go.
This poor person is looking through the newspaper for info on what projects our artists have been working on. And this lost individual is using a map to find where she can follow our artists on social media and buy their books. How about we save them the trouble and just tell them? We call this next segment shameless self-promotion.
Okay, so I'm first. I'm going to do my normal plug. Comic shop with a bit of a difference. Comic shop will be at ComX Plus tomorrow at Annerley. Not tomorrow, sorry, Sunday morning from 9 till 1. Comic shop will be there at a stall, a table, I should say. And we will be selling everybody's stuff from Comic shop in person. So
That's a stall.
over down at Annerley, ComX Plus. Go check us out. Sunday, 9 a.m. it starts. So see you there.
Yeah, great.
Kerry will be there too. So me and Kerry.
Hey, Kerry.
Team
Hey,
Green.
Kerry.
Bring Doug. Bring Doug. Sis, tell us more. Is that a comic shop or like a?
It's a comic shop, and they're having a market They have a big room for doing games, and they're using that to do a market.
Hell yeah!
Brad Daniels will be there as well. He's the one who organised it, I believe.
Yep.
Tails
We'll
too
take
stupid
photos
to
and
tell.
post it. There you go.
Sorry, I talked over you. What did you say? What was the last bit?
I just said we'll take photos and post it on the social media as well. But yeah, be there. Buy some ComX shop. Postage free, not the normal
Postage free.
flat rate postage. Postage free. So come down. Bring your card. Bring your credit cards. It's all good.
It's still a flat rate of $0. That's all.
Flat rate of $0 if you buy it there.
Yeah. Things that aren't $0. What? I do this comic book. You've all heard about it. It's taking the world by like small sun shower. It's the Devil's Toilet. Check it out. Psychojanitor.com. You can also grab Sluggish because everybody loves depression and anxiety and slugs.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's true.
Otherwise, at Spedsy on all social medias. What about you, Quick?
You can get Detective Budgie. That's why Rob keeps saying Budgie. He's talking about Detective Budgie. You can get that at my website, detectivebudgie.net or .com, or you can wait and buy it off me in person in Melbourne in a week. Is it a week from today?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, next weekend.
Travel. All right.
We're all staying at Dave's house.
Could be handy.
We're sleeping in Dinky's stable, I think.
I'll put you in a tent out the back.
Claudia.
The hole's already dug.
I'll dig a fresh hole for the toilet.
What a man.
The Devil's Toilet. Oh.
Yes. Bring your own
What about you,
toilet.
Claudia? Where can we
She's
find
turning
you? Hey, yeah.
Claudia will be
Those
sizzle and
looking
dug
great.
into the multiverse.
I'm actually a graphic designer.
Ooh.
So my Instagram is A51 Designs. If you can follow me there, I'd really appreciate it.
Graphic designer Sizzle. Did your ears prick up?
It's on there.
ComX could use a. Just saying. What about you, Dinky's dad?
I just thought I'll show you this. This is the finished one. I don't think you saw it finished, so here it is finished.
Hell yeah.
Nice one, Dave.
Wow,
Beautiful,
that's-
Dave.
There's the model.
Oh, cool.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, that's a Tobey Maguire split. Now, Dave, why do you have that? I know that sounds weird, but he's not one for a room full of action figures like the rest of us.
Why? Because years ago, I've got these things.
So it was pre.
Yeah.
Was
It
your
was
pre?
the only thing I could get that was give me these angles and, different positions. It's totally posable. They call it posable.
Yeah.
Articulation.
Yeah, articulated. And so that's me mannequin until
Yeah,
I got these fancy ones.
Nice.
Epic.
So that's why I've got him. I've got a few others too. All
And
right.
then you can see if you look at like Dave's work on Rick McClune and stuff, you can see Rick is always like shooting his guns like this.
Why is he holding things like that? Oh, broken wrist. All right. Well, my stuff, you can buy my comics at the ComX shop. Sizzle's got them in there, awaiting purchase. Also at the Owner Indie online store, they can be purchased. I haven't plugged this one for a little while, but this is available. This is the latest issue of Amazing Tales.
And it's freaking awesome.
It's got 4 stories in there. A Dropship 15 story when in search of a souvenir. Everyone's looking for a souvenir. The next story is a bushfire story in colour.
Look at that.
Next story is the buffalo hunt up in the Northern Territory. The buffalo hunter goes hunting buffalo. Ringer from a station up there. And the last one is the skeet shoot. where aliens get marooned on Earth. How will they get out? Can they be assisted? What are two or three kids have got something to do with it? So
Cool.
Wow.
there you go. Good stories, bit of humour, bit of action, lots of adventure. Get into it while you can. Down
Highly
to
recommend.
Chernobyl.
You can find me on Instagram at Chernobyl. Look for the Vamoose comics on Psycho Janitor. We're edging ever closer to the 8 million sold. So we're closing in on Jim Lee's records. I think we're really close. So if at least 9 million people can buy a copy, we should almost get to 8 million. For those of you who are wondering what would happen if Michael Jordan was French and was a basketball zombie,
That's epic.
coming soon, potentially from Silver Fox Comics, some of the greatest art of all times. I got a couple of pages in there at the back. I'm sure they'll be available one day, and that's maybe one day that will become something as well.
Minty Frisket.
And when Sizzle and Doug come out,
Whoa.
there
Nice.
could be a page in there as well. So we'll see what happens.
Awesome.
And buy a Blockbuster T-shirt from somewhere. Oh, Rob. But over to the true star, Chris.
Where am I? So you can find my work at crispy.inks on Instagram, or I'm at crispy draws on Twitter. I'm currently working with Sigmet Studio on Wolf Cubs issue 2. And I also work with NSK Comics. I do Fox and Hound with them, and Hell Courtesan, which has just been published by Marcosia Publishing UK.
Very cool.
In the UK.
Yeah.
Let go.
Yeah. We Nick and I, NSK Comics and I have got a fairly big project that should hopefully be coming out soon. It's all sort of processing, but can't say, yeah, but it's getting close to the finish line. So hopefully that should be coming soon. So either head to crispy.inks or NSK Comics to keep up with that. I think that's it. Thank you.
Thanks,
What
Chris.
about you, Peter J. Parker?
Henry Lawson. Come on, Henry.
All right. Still plugging away on issues 4 and 5 of Torn for Reverie. So they're progressing nicely. This week I finished my little page for the Sizzle and Doug thing, which I don't think we can show in this time slot. So they've seen it.
Pete's is the more saucy of the pages. In Sizzle and Doug.
That's actually bad.
Right. Billabong make an appearance.
That's all we'll say.
Does she ever, Dave? Does she ever? What about you, Mr. Wilson, son of Will?
Yeah, son of Will. Well, if you want to check our website, that's indigiverse.au. And we got all pre-orders and that through there, as well as our Kickstarter, but that will be closing down in, I think, 7 days. I might get a phone call soon.
6 days, I think.
6 days left. And so, indigiverse.au. Check me out also on Instagram, Scott Lewis Wilson. We'll be moving into having our own Indigiverse Instagram soon, but at the moment we're just focusing on these next productions, which our issue 2 will start to come up on Indigiverse.au very soon for pre-orders. So I'm very excited about that. And I can't wait for you all to check it out.
Yeah, mate.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Well, Scott, thank you very much for joining us tonight. It's an absolute pleasure to meet you. Claudia, same. Thank you so much for joining us. Absolute pleasure. Please come back all the time. Next week, we are drawing DC's The Blue Devil. And our guest is Big Tim Styles, which, talking about Peter Lawson and Torn, Big Tim Styles and I, Torn, Gorilla My Dreams, bang, scripts are written. We're going to start putting something together. It's going to be massive. We'll probably talk about it next week, maybe, hopefully. I don't know. Maybe I even wasn't allowed to say it. Who knows? If I'm not on the show next week, it's because I've been shot. But until then, that's been our show. Thank you so much to the artists in the room. Thank you so much to the artists playing at home. Thank you so much to all the viewers who join us every week, to those who catch up after the show, all that good stuff. I think I've said all the stuff. Alex couldn't make it tonight. His cat is at the vet. So please send some positive vibes out to Whiskers or Mittens or Meow Meow or whatever its name is. That didn't sound disrespectful at all. I think that's it.
Well, as Alex would say, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
Yes, like, subscribe, hit the bell. Yes, check us out on Twitch. You can do stuff over there too. We're on Twitch. This things.
Yeah. Thanks, Nick.
All right. Well, that's been our show. So make sure you eat your prayers, say your vitamins, and we'll catch you down the Rizzo.
Thank you very much, everybody.
See you, everyone.
Someone
Scott,
should
hang
call
around.
the police. The show has been murdered. But in 1 week we will rebuild it. Better, stronger, faster. In the meantime, head to ComX.shop and powder your chestnuts on a copy of Detective Budgie by Nick Cleary, Amazing Tales by Dave Dye, Vamoose by Nick May, Battle for Bustle by Lee Chalker, Radical by Ed Kearsley, Sluggish by Spedsy, Crimson and Rascal by Peter Wilson, ComX Presents featuring so many of the creators that have appeared on this show. And so much more. Alright sis, press the button. End the show. Don't make me butter your biscuit. Sizzle, press the button. Sizzle? Sausage sizzle. #Bunnings.